Grief is not a problem to be solved. A lot of us think of our sadness, think of our grief as something that we're supposed to do something about. Grief is the very natural, very beautiful response to losing someone who you loved so deeply. It's not a problem to be solved. There isn't anything you have to do. It will take its own course, and all you need to do is allow it. The only wrong way to do grief is to tell yourself, you should be over it by now. Move on. Chalo, rone band kar do, aage badhao. There's no right amount of time or wrong amount of time to grieve. What happens though is our sadness, our loss, makes other people quite uncomfortable because nobody wants to think about death. It's very easy to move through the world as we live it, feeling like we are invincible, it's never going to happen. I don't have to think about it. Well, agar aap mere samne hai, and you are in grief because you've lost someone, that makes me very uncomfortable because I don't want to think about death. So I'm going to tell you, Hare, it's okay, don't worry. Stop crying. Chalo movie mein chale. I want somehow to make you stop grieving so that I feel better in the moment. As a community, we really need to get over our own fear of death. It's going to happen. It's the only non-negotiable. It's the only guarantee. Whatever your stars are, whatever your horoscope is, however much money you make, whatever mantra you chant, whoever your guru is, whatever mandir you go to, whatever you do, you will die. And your loved ones will die. It is the only guarantee. And so first, as a community, we need to be able to support each other in grief without trying to put a lid on someone else's sadness because it makes us uncomfortable. And then all you need to do is allow yourself, allow the grief to take its own course, because what you'll realize is grief doesn't exist in a vacuum. If you're really honest and present and open with the emotions, what you'll find is there's a wave of grief. As you think about her, you mourn her. And then as her face is in your eyes, there's this wave of joy. Because you see her and you feel her and you remember her and you love her. And then maybe even there's a wave of laughter. Maybe there's something that seeing her makes you think of and you laugh. And then maybe there's a wave of anger. Why did God take her so soon? Why didn't she take better care of her health? Why didn't she wear her seatbelt? All of these sorts of very natural feelings when we've lost someone. And then it'll be a wave, again maybe of joy, again of grief. They actually just keep moving. And when you're open with them, you'll feel them move from one end to the other. And all you have to do is be present. What's going to happen eventually is, it's not that you get over her. It's that your experience of who you are changes and expands to include her as well. And so you'll feel yourself changing and expanding. And that presence of her is now part of you. And this is the other really critical piece, because a lot of people will tell you, they're gone, just get over it. But if you close your eyes, you may be able to see her. You may be able to hear her inside. Not everyone can, that's okay. Many people can. At times maybe you can, at times you can't. But I would imagine that there are times where you can close your eyes and see her. Times you can be quiet and hear her. Times you feel her there. And that's beautiful. Because the truth is, her essence is still here. No, she can't sit next to you in the car on pilgrimage. No, you won't hear her voice necessarily in the way she spoke, or give her body a hug, sit across from her over a cup of tea or a meal. But ultimately, her essence is still here. What you loved was not her body. I mean, you may have also appreciated her body, but it wasn't that you loved her elbow, or you loved her knee, or you loved her leg, or her arm, or her nose, or her shoulder. You loved the essence of who she was. That soul, that spirit, that being. And actually that's still here. And it's also really important to allow ourselves to feel that, to know that that essence is still here with you. And as you go on pilgrimage, talk to her. That essence is still there. She's still with you, just in a different form. If you were babies, each of you has changed form so many times. Right? What she looked like when you were a baby was very different from what she looked like at 10 or 20, 30, 40. But you loved her and you recognized her throughout all of these transformations. Well, she's just had another transformation. A form. Now it's one you can't see with these two eyes. But it doesn't mean she's gone. My favorite story about this is when Paramahansa Sri Ramakrishna Ji passed away, had Mahasamadhi. And his wife was just trying to remove the bangles that she wore. You know, when you become a widow, you're supposed to remove the bangles. But they had gotten married when she was very young, so her wrist was tiny. So now she couldn't get the bangles over her adult woman's hand. So she goes to take a hammer to break the bangles. And suddenly she hears his voice, "Sharda, what are you doing?" "I haven't gone anywhere. I've only moved from one room to another room." And so there's two things to do. One is just allow your grief. However it is, it's tears, it's joy, it's laughter, it's tears, it's joy, however it moves. It's solitude, it's wanting companionship. It's going to take a lot of different forms. It's going to hit you at all kinds of unexpected times and unexpected ways. A sight, a sound, a smell. And you just have to be present with it. Don't try to push it away. Just allow it. And simultaneously, the other to do is focus on feeling her in ways that are much more subtle than you've ever used. Focus on knowing her with ways of knowing that you're not used to using. Inner eyes, inner ears, inner ways of knowing. And not only will that bring her closer to you, but it'll also deepen your own experience of yourself.